So we're going to get started here with the rest of our tribute to Grammy on her 90th birthday. And so I want to start just by a couple things, tell you kind of what we're going to do. So first thing we're going to do is we have a video that's prepared for Grammy. Everybody's contributed photographs. I put them together in a video with music to commemorate Grammy's 90 years here on Earth. So we're going to start with that, and then we'll have an opportunity for everyone or anybody who wants to stand up and say something and toast Grammy on her 90th birthday. No pressure to do it. If you want to say something, great. If not, you're happy to just listen and participate that way. So before we get started with that, though, I want to say, extend a grateful thanks to Martha and George. Great job hosting this for the weekend and putting this together, and it's a lot of work, and we really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun. So we're going to start the video, but I thought before we would start, we would take a stroll back to 1925. So I did a little research today and determined there were a couple things. So what happened in 1925? It was the year that Sears Roebuck opened their first retail store. It all depended on a catalog store. They opened their first store in 1925. The first female governor ever in the United States of America took office in Wyoming. New Yorker published its first issue in 1925. The Great Gatsby was published, and the popular films of the year were Ben-Hur and Phantom of the Opera. So, in addition to Grammy being born, Margaret Thatcher was born in 1925. Johnny Carson, Richard Burton, Tony Curtis. Gas was 20 cents a gallon. Oh my God. Bacon, for all the bacon lovers in the room, 47 cents a pound. And eggs. So those were some highlights from 1925, but of course the biggest highlight was the birth of Grammy. Grammy, none of us would be in this room. That's right. And John and George, but most of us would not be here.
Brian and Kelly would be here. Running their restaurant.
You'd be alive, but you wouldn't be here right now.
That's right. I'm very thankful for Grammy being born because I'm very happy to be her son. I'm very thankful for everything that she has done for me. When I think of Grammy, there's a million stories, obviously. We all have Grammy stories, but Grammy has meant so much to me, and I think that really, one of the things that really I'm thankful for is the love of learning and reading and knowledge that she has given to me. And current events and the obsession with reading the newspaper and staying up to speed on things comes largely from Grammy, but also just the love of learning and reading. She's a lifelong reader and has passed that on to me, and I think many of us in this room. And I'm very thankful for that. That's one thing that I'm very grateful for. And I see Grammy, all of us have a little bit in her, and I see it in my children. So there's a little bit of Grammy in that. But Kathleen, who's here, she has Grammy's love of collecting. She's a hoarder in training. So when she was this is about 6 or 7 years ago, she was about 9 or 8, and we were doing a cleaning of the purging, as we call it, of the room. And she had a whole menagerie of stuffed animals. I think she still does, but dozens of them. And we're like, you gotta let some of them go. We're gonna give them to the children who don't have any. So we had to pick the ones that you want to keep. We're gonna give the other ones to the children. She couldn't do it. So she got the phone without me knowing it and went upstairs and called Grammy. Told Grammy what was happening, that we were taking the stuffed animals and we were giving them away. And she put Grammy on the phone, and Grammy instructed me to let her keep them. But I didn't tell Kathleen this. What Grammy said afterwards is, wait until she goes to sleep. take them and put them in and sneak them out and give them away then. So
And is that what you did?
that's what we did. So in Anne, I see Anne has Anne is we call it a real homebody. She doesn't like leaving. She likes just staying in the house and doing her thing. She likes having people over and not going out. When we go to the beach, we go to the Outer Banks a lot. Grammy would come with us. Anne is happy and she says, "I'm not leaving the compound." Which to her means the house and the beach directly in front of it. So, like Grammy, she just likes to be. She's a homebody. I think that comes from Grammy as well. So, happy 90th birthday, Mom. You're the best. Thanks for everything. All right, so let's start the video. It's about 20 minutes. It's got a lot of pictures, music. Hopefully it'll bring back a lot of memories. Some new, some old. So hopefully bring back a lot of memories for everyone.
Given me in my life and my problems, whatever. But I certainly appreciate everything she's done for me. And having phone conversations with her. I wish her a very happy birthday and love her very much. But I did want to tell you that when she was born 90 years ago, her older sisters, Ann, Pat, Mary, and Jean, came to their mother and said, "You know, we really wanted a boy." But I'm so glad that she wasn't a boy. She could have the progeny of all the wonderful children. And it's been a blessing for the whole family. So I thank you very much.
Okay, I'll go next. Since I'm next, Uncle John, I just want to say thank you, Mumsy, for bringing this beautiful family into this world and for making me a part of it from the moment I met you and everybody. So I'm very, very happy to be part of this family, and thank you very much. And happy birthday, I love you.
There's nobody more a sucker for family than I am. And I love every single one of them that you brought into this world. I really miss Grandpa too, because I wish he would be part of this conversation. But thank you to also for the succession of generations and for making the best man I've ever known. And so I thank you for your life. If it weren't for you, we wouldn't be here. And like I said, for my great grand, I want to give my gift now. Where is it? Oh, right here. We made this for you, and I've been so wanting to give it to you since the day I saw you this weekend. Wait, my goodness, this bench. You got it? Yeah. This bench keeps going on. But I wanted to do something that had everybody's name on it. And so Joe had to help me because, of course, we had to do it real fast and you brought it and all this other stuff. But I want you to open this. Thank you so much for being my mother-in-law. Senior daughter-in-law. And because I'm the senior, she loved me first. And she loved me the longest. Joe and I are not going anywhere. Okay. This is everybody in the family's name with their birthdays. And everybody's name and the year they were born and their anniversaries. So you can keep sending us gold coins.
I was hoping to know Mom the longest, but then Uncle John came, and then I was gonna take my prerogative as the oldest and say that I didn't really have to say much, and I couldn't get away with that because John gets all the prerogatives. I don't really, you know, as the baby in the family, John got all the prerogatives. Yeah. But seriously, what I want to thank Mom for is making me a liberal. And I knew you would. I don't mean it in the awful polarized liberal conservative crap that we're dealing with now, but liberal in the old sense of the word, of somebody who's generous, teaches you how to be generous, somebody who teaches you how to respect and tolerate other people, somebody that doesn't have a prejudiced, bigoted bone in her or in her fiber, and somebody who taught us. All of us, but starting with me, because I'm the oldest. And I always will be. That we have to love and respect each other, and she always talked about that. Those long kitchen conversations when I was mad at something, and she'd sit me down in the kitchen and explain things, and you just pound into your children's head that love and respect for other people is what it's all about. And we don't be judgmental. And we just don't do that. And as a result, we have a room full of people here who are loving and generous and kind and respectful and everything else. And it's right down genetically and those long talks that I know we all had, but I got them first because I'm the oldest and I always will. So thank you, Mom. Love you.
Very good.
I'm the youngest in-law, I do believe. But I've been around a really long time, and as John was making that video presentation, I really noticed Grammy's hats. And Grammy and I share a little love of hats, going back and forth, trading them, giving them to each other. And I noticed from a little girl, she was wearing hats up until the last knee. So what I want to talk about are 3 hats. And I always think that when you lead off in saying something about someone, you know, it's kind of like give me the bad news first and then the good news. I want to start with a hat that was not so great for Grammy to wear. Because there's many, and here you're an aunt, you are a mother, you are a grandmother, you are a great-grandmother. You've got all these different hats you wear.
And a mother-in-law.
A mother-in-law. Mom, the one hat you shouldn't have worn was the taxi driver hat. And I'm going to tell you a little story about that, because when I first came into the family, it was always big groups of people together. I was at Martha's graduation, there was a family reunion. I was always with all the family gathered together, except for right before it looked like I might be married into this situation. And John and I went up to visit Mom and Dad, and my mother said to me, now, when you go up there, be really, really sure, because this is a lifetime commitment you're looking at making. So I'm like, okay, wow, this is heavy. So Mom and I decided we would take a little adventure out of town and go get some seafood, you saw the crabs, for dinner. And as we're driving, I realized not only are her hands, both of them, on my lap, she's driving, and she's talking to me, but we are on the wrong side of the road. So I called my mother when we got home and I said, I'm not going to have to worry about marrying into this family. And she said, why? I said, because she's going to kill me before I get a chance. So that's one hat you shouldn't have worn. The other 2, and then I'll be brief, are the nurse's hat that I saw in there. And how much I have learned from you as far as caregiving, as far as loving other people through sickness and through health. And how much of an inspiration that has been for me. And just knowing that that is a part of who you are. And then the biggest hat is the veil you wore at the wedding. Teaching me how wonderful it is to be a wife, how wonderful it is to be committed to a family, how wonderful it is to have a family that I'm committed to no matter what. And then from there, children, of which I'm very, very grateful that not only I have, but that all of us have, that we get to share this life. So I love you, Mom. Happy birthday.
Just having Mom next door for the last 10 years. I've had the privilege of having my children be right next door, coming and going. I laugh about it, but it's true. She's my mother, my sister, my friend, and I'm very grateful that she brought us all into the world, and that she's still here. And then I compiled just a short list, not inclusive, and in no particular order of things that will always remind me of Grammy. Nature in all forms, trees, Jeanette MacDonald and Nelson Eddy movies, rocks, no matter what size.
Preferably gold.
Yeah. Pebble to boulder. Things covered with macaroni and spray gold. Art gone wrong. Books in large quantities. Anything in large quantities. Cashmere sweaters. Brussels sprouts. It's lie, not lay. Pearls and other sparkly objects. And last but not least, of course, golden dollars on your birthday.
I played guitar when I was 13, and I always wanted a piano, but Mom and Dad just bought me a guitar instead, which I'm actually happy they did because it's portable. Gotcha. You know, you don't have to walk around. So one of my favorite songs growing up was a song by Peter, Paul, and Mary. It's called Polly Bond, and you might remember that song. And the original song was about the hazards of recreational hunting. You remember? She had her apron wrapped about her, and he took her for a swan, so he shot an arrow through her heart. And, so anyway, but I thought I really liked the melody, so I thought I would just take that song and maybe do a little something different. So here we go. I shall tell of a woman whose life had begun, fifth daughter of Paul and Marie in Warren. She first was a nurse till she married her Paul. Their union was fruitful 'cause it produced you all. With your loving arms around us, you made what we'd become. And oh, I'm so glad you could be our mom. From Warren to Chicago, Johnstown, and Cincy, those summers we spent in the woods at Lake Santee. Again, Ocean Pines to Richmond you'd roam. With love you ensured each place would be our home. With your loving arms around us, you made what we'd become. And oh, we're so glad you could be our mom. Now the years have flown by, it's been 80 a life filled with blessings again and again. God willing, this won't be the last song I've sung. I'll sing it again when you're 100 years young. With your loving arms around us, you made what we'd become. And oh, we're so glad you could be with our loving dad beside you, you made what we become. Everybody, and oh, we're so glad you could be our mom.
It's going to be hard to follow. This running order. All right. So as I move into the next stage of my life, getting a job and moving into my own place, I've been reflecting on the great positive influences in my life. I have my mom to thank who put this whole thing together. Thanks for that. This has been great. My dad, and thirdly, Grammy, the woman of the hour. The knowledge she's imparted on me has been invaluable. I really appreciate it. And I think being so close to her over the past couple of years has been very impactful on me. So I thank you for that also. I didn't know Grampy very well, but I know two things for sure now. He made some awesome kids. And, he really couldn't pick them. Here's to you, Grammy. Prepared, but I guess I would say, I don't know, but going over to Grammys these last couple of years, she's been really close to us, and just hanging out, watching Dr. Phil. Having arguments about Dr. Phil. Just hearing her worries of the day. I think sort of sitting with her after her surgery. I think that's sort of where it started, but I mean, she's been a great resource to me. Just when I've had any kind of worry, I know she's like always telling me her worries of the day, but I think it's definitely gone a little bit under the radar. Like she's helped me figure out like what I'm doing. Anytime I had any kind of worry that I just really, she's definitely a different resource that I felt like I could tell anything to and go when I was feeling upset about something and just talk to her. And she was always really responsive and always gave great advice. And I'm gonna keep going to her and keep talking to her. And I'm really thankful for everything she gave me.
Nah, 10 years ago now. And my grandmother, my last grandparent died when I was in the 5th grade. And Grammy said to me, if it's okay with you, I'll help fill that role. And she has. And she offered to be my agent when I wanted to be a Rockette. And Grammy was giving me business advice. So with this family, I felt nothing but whole. So thank you all for coming tonight. And Grammy, I love you dearly.
Do you remember the first thing you ever said to me?
Oh.
I brought Martha home to Ocean Pines. And I walked in the door and there's you and Grampy. And the first thing you said to me was, the shirt I bought you is going to be too small. It made me wonder what Martha told her. But I think you judge a person by their family a lot. And I took Martha home, and as soon as I met Joan and Paul, I knew I was okay.
Very nice.
That was it. Thank you very much. She's been with with us, close to us for 10 years. And she thinks we take care of her, but you take care of us.
This is the first time I'm meeting all of you, but Joni is a huge part of our lives. She keeps our links in the very family, and we have these wonderful conversations probably 3 times a year. They end up being hours, and I just love you for keeping in touch with us. And you're so special to all of us. And I'm currently going through all these letters that they had, the correspondence they had all throughout Anne's life, and I brought them for Joni for her birthday. We love you, and this is I'm so happy you have a birthday party. So you made it up. I love you. Oh, glad to see you. Me too. Oh, thanks. Me too. Good to know you.
Over here, Aunt Karen, who was riding in my car, said you have to say something. Great speeches, and I told her no way, and she said absolutely you have to. And so on the drive over here, Grammy, I wrote a speech for you. It goes something like this. 407 years ago, our forefathers brought forth in this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty, and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. But I remember that because when I was like 10 years old, Grammy gave me a plate with the Gettysburg Address on it, and she said, you have to learn this speech. And I said, yeah, whatever, Grammy. Then she grabbed me and she looked me in the eye and she said, you have to learn this speech. And so I actually sat down and memorized the first paragraph.
All right, let's hear it.
She just did it.
Sorry, I was talking to Kelly. It's sorry, I was explaining. I'm sorry.
When I think about you, Grammy, that's one of the several things that I think about. Another thing is the fact that I write thank you notes because I was terrified you were going to corner me when I see you next. I hadn't written you a thank you note for the gift you gave me. And I also think that I became a better writer when I was a blogger because you cornered me and forced me to learn more about grammar. And so when I think about all these things, and it's not so much fear as the fact that you always respected me and you never talked down to me, even when I was a child, and I always appreciated that. And when I look back on my 37 years here, I think about all of our conversations and all the times you never talked down to me. You treated me like an adult, and you spoke to me like I was a responsible person. So I appreciate that, and I love our conversations that I hope we get to have a lot more. Thank you.
Piggyback on what William said about Grammy always treating her grandchildren like they were adults and speaking to us and letting us make decisions and talking to us about real issues that were happening. I spent a couple summers living with Grammy when I was growing up, and one summer I worked in at this performance. What was it called?
Liberty Theater. The theater.
The Warren Theater, musical library theater, and I worked many hours, and Grammy and Grampy would encouraged me, and well, I think they got me the job.
We all got our first job.
And even when it was like 12 hours, they would encourage me, and any kind of things that were going on, they were so excited, and they came to all the shows, and I was not in the show, I was in the background, but I was making costumes, and I would had to make this cape for the Phantom of the Opera, and he had to wear his cape, and then he also had to take his cape off and throw it onto the ground as a picnic blanket. And so the challenge was to make it look like a cape, and then on the inside it had to look like a picnic blanket. And so I brought home the sewing machine and all the fabric, and we were sitting there at the dining room table just sewing, and we made this beautiful cape. And so sewing skills and life skills all go to Grammy. Wish, make a
Does anybody have a flashlight?
On my phone.
Yes, on our phones.
On the phone.
Here, wait, yes, don't set your speech on fire. I didn't.
That would be
There we go. It will be. Okay,
Chris got a speech.
you ready?
It's this page.
Okay.
That much.
You can do it.
You have to listen.
Project.
Now project it now. There.
But you project.
I want to say this. My dreams have all come true this weekend. This is what I hoped for. Here we are, gathered together.
You go silence.
This is what I hoped for. Here we are gathered together. This is the best. This is happiest. The happiest birthday ever. I am satisfied. My darling devoted children are gathered here with their children, and their children's children. They have traveled willingly to be here for me. I am completely thankful. I thank God for giving me my life with Paul Conley. And I am completely thankful for my life with our children that we will love forever and ever. You are my life's work. My children are my life's work. You are all I need. Thank you, Paul. Oh, thank you, Paul. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Jody. Thank you, Ann. Thank you, Martha. Thank you, John. It has been my pleasure and my treasure to be your mother. Amen.
Amen.